Hello guys, welcome to my video series tutorial to talk about Microsoft Semantic Kernel Agent Orchestration. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to implement concurrent orchestration in Blazor application. So this project showcases how to implement concurrent orchestration in two different features. One, we focus on global orchestration. Second, we focus on page-oriented orchestration. In global orchestration, we register agents, we register concurrent orchestration. So this orchestration applicable for entire application. The second one is a page-oriented orchestration. In the page-oriented orchestration, so page-wise we define the agents. So for example, page 1 we define only two agents. These two agents use this orchestration concept, and page 2 we used another 3 and 4th agents. So that's only applicable for page 2. So like that we are going to implement this concurrent orchestration concept. So for this application, I'm going to use our concurrent pattern example only. In the program.cs file, here we used how to implement this concurrent orchestration. We defined three agents, and we defined the concurrent orchestration, and the input and output we use the transformer to convert to the specific format. In Blazor application, I'm going to use only for result transform only. Input transform, it's the same way. I focus only for result transform, and we use the in process time, and we use this invoke, we get the results that we display in the Blazor page. I have already created the project called Blazor SK Concurrent Orchestration. This is a Blazor web app application, and I have installed all the required NuGet package also, which we used in our concurrent pattern. So here we have to define all our configuration part. We go step by step. The first step, if we go to the concurrent example, we define the kernel. So the kernel passed chart completion agent. So chart completion agents get created. So we have to the kernel object. So go to program.cs file. For this, SDK provide the option to add the kernel. So service.add kernel here. And next we have to define what type of LLM model we are going to use, whether OpenAI or Azure OpenAI or some other different model, you can define it. So here I used Azure OpenAI model. So services.add chat completion. So here we have to pass the information. I define my deployment name endpoint in config. So I just use my config information model. And next is the endpoint. So config.endpoint, and finally key. So the initial step is done. The next step, we have to create the agent. We have to create a three different agent. To create this agent, to register the agent, we have to use the function called add keyed singleton. This is a service collection provider function. We have to use this function to register our agents. So if you register the same kind of agents, we have to differentiate. For that, we have to provide the service key. So here, builder.service.add keyed singleton, and the type chat completion agent. The first argument you see service key. So we have to provide the service key. The second, we have to create the object for the chat completion agent. So the service key I make same as a agent key. So before that, we need three keys because we are going to use three different agents. So for that, I just define keys in the array, string array, agent name, action, romantic, classic. So the first one is here we are going to use the action. So agent name, first index. The second argument, we have to create the chat completion object. Here, service provider and key. We just return the chat completion object. So just go here and copy the complete one. This one I paste it, and we have to pass a kernel. So the kernel object is needed. So to get the kernel object, here we added the service collection. So we request the service collection to get the kernel object. So using this service provider, so here get required service, I need a kernel, and that let it clone. That's it. So our first agent is ready. We can simplify this one. Yeah. So like that, we have to create other remaining agent, romantic and classical fan agent. So we have created three agents. We go back to our reference program. Once agent has been created, the next step we have to do the orchestration. To implement the orchestration, go to the Blazor program.cs file. Here, builder.services.add scope. So this one we are going to use concurrent orchestration, and first argument is string, and second argument is a list of movie recommendation. So service provided, and we just return new concurrent movie recommendation. We have to pass the agents in the constructor. So our agents available in the service provider class. So we have to request a service provider get all the agents. So to implement this one here first agent is an action agent. So action agent service provider dot get required key service chat completion agent, and the agent name, that means our service name, we have to pass it here. So the agent name, first index, read it. Like that we have to take another agents. So action agents, the next one is a romantic comedy agents and classic agents. This agent we have to pass it here. So action agent and romantic agent and classic agents. The implementation of the concept is fine, but I feel it's again little bit tightly coupled here, this code, because of the agent. If I want to add the new agent, again I come to add the new agent here. So this might be a problem. To avoid this one, for that I have implemented the helper class. If we go to the Solution Explorer, agent resolver, so here you just pass only the agent names. This helper class return all the agents. So go to our program.cs here. This code, I just remove this code, and here I add the builder.services.add singleton agent resolver, and here this step we going to call the agent resolver function. We pass the keys and it's automatically return all the agent information. So agent resolver. So the next step, agent, this information, agent resolver dot resolve agent. Here we have to pass the agent type, what type of agent we are using. We are using the chat completion agent. So type of chat completion agent and the agent keys. So we just directly pass the agent names here. All available agents keys, this one we pass to the function, it return the agents. So we remove this one, and here we directly assign it. That's it. So now our agent is ready. Once the agent is ready, we have to assign the name and description. I just copy this one, assign it. So the purpose of the concurrent orchestration and the name of the concurrent orchestration. This also, if you need, you can pass it from outside. No need to hard code it, but I just keep it hard code this one because this is not a super complicated to change this one. So let it be there. And the next one is the main important one for our transformer function, result transform. So here, if you go here, we add this function here, result transform. If you use the result transform, this function has to be defined when initialize the object. You cannot define, or you cannot define this object later. So you have to define this object while initializing the object. So if you do like this, create method, it will work, no issues, because while creating the object, we just assign the function, which function should invoke. So this function get in called. This is absolutely fine, it will work. But the problem here is, again, it's tightly coupled. Later, if I want to change some other functionality, I have to do the changes. The program.cs file, again, it will affect our the design concept. So I don't want to use like this way. What I'm going to do for this step, I'm going to create one callback service class. In the callback service class, I just go to add this function. So I remove this one and remove at the moment this also. That's I have already created. That's called transformer with the callback helper. Here I define my callback function, the same signature, no changes. So list, movie recommendation, result transformer, everything same. One small changes I did based on our last example. So if you go to the result transform, so inside function I called the kernel. So this also I want to avoid it. I don't want to, tightly couple this code. This kernel also I call out, pass from the outside. So that I define in the constructor kernel, and this kernel pass to here, and rest of the code is same. And based on the class, I extracted the interface. So transformer callback interface, I added this one. So this transformer with callback helper, we have to register our service provider. So go to program.cs file. So before here, so I'm going to define my callback helper. So add singleton, I transformer callback helper, and define the class also, transformer helper. That's it. So here that we have to resolve it here. So up to here agent, and here we resolve the transformer. I transformer helper sp dot get required service. So we need I transformer helper. That's it. So using the helper, we assign it result transformer. That's it. So go to our concurrent program back. Top. Yeah. So until this step is done, the next step we have to execute our prompt. So for that we need in process runtime and prompt, and we have to get the result. So go to our Blazor application. For this, what I did, I created another service class. If we go to global service and global movie recommendation, I have created one class called a global movie recommendation class. This class helps us to execute user prompt in the concurrent orchestration object. So to execute concurrent object, we need process runtime also. That also I pass the constructor, and the concurrent orchestration also I pass from the constructor, because our concurrent orchestration present in our service collection class. So we have to take from here. So that I define it here. This class have one function, invoke function. This function we go to call from our page, Blazor page. So from there we pass our input. If cancellation token is needed, that also we will pass it. Before execute, we have to start the runtime. So once runtime started, we execute the prompt. So here we get the result and return it. The global movie recommendation based, I created one interface called I global movie recommendation. So if you go here, this is only one function, invoke async. That's it. So this interface I'm going to define in our service class. So here, builder dot add scoped movie recommendation, and we need one more also, that is process runtime. So that also we needed. So that also set. So look like all fine. We created the agents list and we created the concurrent orchestration and we created the execution of that one. So all done. So just go to the component pages global. In the Razor page, I just inject only the global movie recommendation and rest of the code handle the UI part. So the main part here, orchestration, invoke, I pass the user prompt. So once respond, I just display this information to the Razor page. We quickly run this and see this output. If you go to global orchestration, and this is my Razor page design. Here I send the prompt, weekend movies, weekend movies is sent. Here we get the response, our command weekend movies and the recommendation. Send another prompt, list of good Tamil movies, send. So here we get the second prompt response. So first two movies same, the last movie changes. That's fine. So we done our global orchestration. The next concept, we're going to implement the page orchestration. In paired paged agent concept, we are going to create two pages. Page one will handle movie related agents, but here I'm going to define only two agents. In the global, we define three agents, movie related. Page one, we are going to define two agents, and page two will add like food related agents. So those agents I have registered here. So this is food related agent names, and this we already seen movie related agents. And I have created a function called food agents. Inside this function, I added all the food related agents here. So the next step, we have to specify page one, what are the agents available? Page two, what are the agents available? This step we have to specify. To handle this, I'm not going to add into the page itself. So I just move out of the page. I'm created a separate helper class to manage this information. Page one, these are the agents. Page two, these are the agents, like that. For that, I have created a function called agent group. So if you go to the orchestration service, agent group. So here I maintain the page related agents. So we pass the group name and what are the agents available. So if you pass the group name, it's return the agents information. So I'm going to use this class to maintain the agents information. So go to program.cs file and here we'll add this one. So we prepared our agent group information. The next step, we have to create the concurrent orchestration object based on the agents. To create this one, again I'm created the helper class. In the helper class, we just pass the required information like what is the group name and what is the name of the orchestration and any description. This three information has to pass. Then this helper class create the concurrent orchestration object. So if you go to the again orchestration factory folder, here concurrent orchestration factory. So the page one or page two, we have to call this function create, pass the group name and name of the orchestration and description. Once is passed, and it will request the agent group, give me the list of agents. So once we get the name and using the agent resolver class, we get all the agents information. So we used chat completion agents and we pass this one and we get the agent info. This agent info passed to this concurrent orchestration class and create the object. And here I added only for the name and description. The next, I didn't add any transformer here. Just directly use the concurrent orchestration. If it is needed, we can add it. I leave it as it is. Once get registered, I just return value. If it is registered, true. If it is not registered, just false. That's it. So this I have to register in the container. So go to our program.cs file. So here builder.services.add scope and I concurrent factory and the implementation class we have to pass it, factory class. So once the orchestration object has been created, whenever it's required, we have to invoke. We have to invoke and we pass the prompt and get the response. To handle this feature, again I have created another helper class. If you go to this orchestration process folder, a concurrent processor. So this class, we have to pass the process runtime and we have to pass the factory interface. So in this invoke function, using the factory, I get the concurrent orchestration object and pass to the invoke function, it return the result. We have to restate this concurrent process also into our container. So go to again program.cs file. Container related all step has done. Finally, a page we have to add it. So in the page, two interface mainly required, one for concurrent orchestration factory and another one for the concurrent process. Orchestration factory used to create the object for the concurrent orchestration process. We have to send the prompt and invoke the agent, get the result. So go to the solution, and if you go to the resolve page, page.razor.cs file. So as I mentioned, I inject two interface, and here I added the description and the orchestration factory. I create the object for the orchestration. So agent group name. So we specified as a group is a movie. So here we specified this name. I passed here and the name of the orchestration and the description. So I added here. That's it. So the send prompt, I used this concurrent process interface and just pass my user input, get the result. This one for page 1. And if you go to the page 2, again I used two interface here. So here I created the object for food group. So if you go to program.cs file, food group and food age names here. So food, orchestration name also food, and the description, prepare South Indian recipe based on user input. And the send prompt, I just call the invoke function to get the result. We run this application and see the output. So start the application. Application started, page 1. So movie related information. So weekend family movies. Send the prompt. This time we'll get only two movie related information because the page 1 we added only for two movie object. So here we get the movie information 1 and 2. That's it. And go to our page 2. This is a food related. So here prompt how to prepare sambar. Send. So here we get the information. Tamil style sambar recipe and South Indian dish, second one, and finally third one. This is just an example of how to implement agent orchestration using Blazor. There are still areas where the code can be improved.